I think over the past couple of decades, maybe we've forgotten what high-intensity conflict is really going to be like. It's, you know, it's unruly, it's unpredictable, it's going to spiral to violence, and it took us a while here to fully appreciate that, and I'm not sure everybody really has appreciated fully the impact of that on how we ought to train and look at the force.
Another issue, I think, which is similar to past wars, is the importance of logistics and the industrial base. We've discovered that, you know, we've done just-in-time deliveries, small unit orders, being very efficient, and modern war, if we're going to be effective, really requires mass. It may not require the mass of the same thing, so that we can argue that, but it's require mass, and that mass has to then be delivered. And so you not only have the problem of throughput on the sides, but also then creating a whole set of targets, these bases, the ammo depots, and all the rest. And we're seeing how both sides have gone after these logistics in order to influence the battlefield.
There are so many lessons learned. First of all, for logistics, investments in logistics are often subject to cuts because it's not the tooth.
Right.
But what we're seeing in this war is that the tail is the tooth. Logistics are critically important to success on the battlefield.
Right.
A second lesson is the importance of having adequate stocks of useful material like munitions. It's clear we need to have a really large inventory of munitions for any future conflict.
Yeah.
I would say also, I think we've got to start thinking in terms of munitions rather than platforms. As munitions get longer and longer range, the platform, you can be platform agnostic. If I'm hunting tanks from 90 kilometers with cheap drones, I don't need an armored vehicle to do this. I can take an Isuzu van. That's the other thing we're learning is if you're going to move, you're probably going to have to blend. Because the only way to survive in this environment, if they're equipped like the Ukrainians aren't hitting, is you can either blend in, like Where's Waldo, or you can get overhead cover. And again, the defense has an advantage. You get back into a building, dig a hole. But those are going to be two requirements that we have not practiced for a very long time.
The ability to surge needs to be understood as a war-fighting capability. So we think about it as, industry can surge if we give them the requirement or whatever, you know, and that puts the focus on the weapons that are delivered. It's that surge process that needs to be better understood and invested in.
From the industry perspective or from the government perspective? Both. I see. Go ahead.
One of the things you need to consider also is the rest of the supply chain. For example, article in the Wall Street Journal just today actually on restarting the 155 production line. And it's going to take years, in large part because of the difficulty getting a hold of the necessary titanium.
I'd like to turn back to the question of advanced technology and investments.
Okay.
A good amount of innovation does come from the government. It sets a requirement and pushes for, changes the tactical edge. But a lot of innovation also comes from industry, which the military can take terrific advantage of. The challenge is that they're at very different refresh rates. And when the military buys commercial technologies, it is a real challenge to make sure that it's keeping in touch with the latest and the greatest versus setting a requirement for something that might have been cutting edge 2 years ago.
Right.
So they're just two different cultures that need to be aligned to make sure that the Army can take advantage of new technology.
And we're starting to realize that. I mean, you see us building equipment now that you can put, you can upgrade your technology inside of it, your software. The frame is made to be here for a long time, but the internals can be changed pretty quick. So I think we're beginning to understand that.
So the modular open systems.
The Army gets MOSA. The Army gets MOSA.
That's where most of us, that's where it's going.
What have we learned on the role of allies?
Absolutely necessary. That's how we fight. And, that's one of the Army's roles in the Pacific, by the way, is building that partnership and their capacity and access.
It is one of the United States' greatest assets. It's so important, and we've seen that in every step of this war.
We've had some remarkable behavior on the part of a lot of the allies in Europe, which needs to be sort of applauded. At the same time, let's recognize how tough some of this is. Getting the kind of changes, getting the kind of response, getting agreement, getting access.
That's right.
Moving equipment. The Germans, have sort of been on and off and on again. And so you have to be prepared to try and push, in a crisis, to try and push things at a much more rapid pace.